Hi, this is Catherine. This is Taking Tea with Catherine. This is a peppermint lemon tea. Lemon peppermint, peppermint lemon. Very basic, very soothing. It was my coffee cheat day, which does not, it's not a good idea really. I really can't handle coffee, but I loved it for when I had it. It was worth the slight discomfort that arises as a result, but now I'm drinking the soothing teas. It has nothing to do with our discussion today. Just what I mentioned. Although I'm a little bit excited, so I could use some calming tea anyway. Because something happened that recently that hadn't happened in a long time, which was I got to finally return to a library. And I'm not talking about this library. I'm talking about the public library. Why is this a big deal? I mean, there have been times in life where I hadn't gone to the library. Yes, but it was a choice. There was so many years in my life where, whether I was doing well financially or not, sometimes I just needed to cut down on spending or whatever, or maybe in life there were some years where I was doing really badly and couldn't afford any other enjoyments in life but going to the library and coming out with stacks of books, you know? And then this year happened and the libraries all closed. The bookshops closed. A lot of the bookshops have opened since, but it took a while for the libraries to reopen. And the argument that we could get ebooks is a difficult one because for some reason my devices don't seem to be compatible with my library's apps for checking out ebooks. And maybe one day I'll get an updated device and that'll change, but right now, not so much. And I'm not that much of an e-reading person anyway. So I really just miss going into a library and checking out books. And now the New York Public Library and the Queens Public Library, which is my borough and then my office, have like a pickup situation where you can put things on hold and when they're ready you could go pick them up. Excuse me. And that's fantastic, except the one near where I live, that is not an option still. That branch is still closed. But one of the library's branches near my office is open, which is good because I am going to my office approximately once a week now. Excuse me. So, frog and throat. So, that's what tea is for. So, I said to myself, look, Catherine, you already have tons of books. You don't need to be checking out books right now. But that's something I've told myself many years. And of course, as soon as I realized that this was a possibility, I put like so many books on hold. And now I have 4 books checked out. So I'm going to show you my haul. So it's a library haul, which I love because I know, and I'm going to show you probably the next couple weeks. I have bought books since the last haul, and there's some books that I had bought previously that I brought home from my office. So I have purchases to show you guys, but I'm not doing that today. I do still want to encourage, despite my own horrible practices, I want to encourage the usage of public libraries because a lot of people cannot afford or should not be affording to be buying so many books. Sometimes this is a good resource, and I know, not everyone has access to a library, but if you do, then, why not? So that's what I did. But it was a different experience and it wasn't as fun as my old experiences. I mean, I've for years, since I knew that it was a thing, I've put books on hold to be picked up. It's convenient because, you don't have to go to all kinds of different branches to find your books. So that's, they do it for you. So sometimes I'll just pop into a library on the way somewhere and pick up my books and won't even look around. But I do like the option of looking at books sometimes. If I have a little extra time, look at the shelves, maybe titles that I didn't know came out, authors that I didn't know had something new, or just I had never discovered. That's still not happening because they can't do that yet. They just can't. So the deal is that, well, at least this particular library system, I don't know about everywhere else, but is that you put a book on hold and it gets to the branch, and when it gets to the branch, They don't just send you a note that says it's ready for you and they put it in the spot. They check it out so that it's literally checked out already. So when you walk into the library, you go to the books on hold area and you pick up your books. You put them in your hands. You do not take out your library card or any other ID. You take these books, you don't even ask the other person, and you walk out. Sounds nice for someone who doesn't like to have to make small talk, maybe, but it's a little nerve-wracking because you can just pick up any book and not prove. I don't think that there are people out there who are really going to make trouble for other people by walking into a library and picking up other people's books, but it's just kind of weird because you can't prove that it wasn't you who picked it up. You can't say, hey, someone else picked up my books and now it's overdue and I can't do anything about it. I don't know how much of a problem that could be, and I hope that it's just a good trust system, but I don't trust people. So I'm hoping for the best right now, but we'll see. The other thing is that the entranceway, there was like a little vestibule lobby area with a security guard, and it has one big trolley, I don't know what you call it, open, where you can return your books and you just pop them in there. Now, I've been places where they have slots or whatever that you do it, and then later on someone goes in and checks them back in. So it's already a bit of a trust thing there anyway, but it kind of made me nervous too, because I know there's a security guard there, but again, someone could just walk in and just grab something. So I have to just maybe not stress it so much and just enjoy the books that I have for now, on top of all the billions of other books that I already have at home. But so I'm going to show you this haul. Just FYI, if you guys are in New York and you're thinking about taking out library books, it is a very quick and easy thing to do, but just if those things make you nervous, just keep that in mind. So this is a book that I've already actually gotten into because I've taken 2 trips to the library already. So it's 4 books. 2 different pickups. Anyway, this is A Scandal in Scarlet by Vicky Delaney. Scandal in Scarlet, yeah. I started the first book, I think, in the series called Elementary She Read, I think. And it is obviously fiction, a mystery series, kind of cozy, you know. This woman named Gemma Doyle who owns a Sherlock Holmes book shop, you know, and memorabilia kind of stuff, and other mystery books. And that's the cat Moriarty, who doesn't really like her. But anyway, it's called a Sherlock Holmes bookshop mystery. And there's a lot of like on the nose kind of situations. Like you could tell, you know, she's supposedly like the Sherlock Holmes kind of character. She observes a lot of things. Her kind of partner who runs the tea shop next door, the Mrs. Hudson tea shop, is named Jane Wilson, which is very, you know, John Watson sounding. And then there are some policemen that they deal with, and one of them that gets on her nerves is God, what her officer or whatever, Estrada, which sounds a little bit like Lestrade, you know. So it's a little corny in that sense, but it's still enjoyable, you know. It's supposed to be in Cape Cod, which I've never been to and always wanted to go to, in an area called West London, and it's on Baker Street in West London. Which I don't think is an actual place, but that's fine. I don't mind. And I made the mistake of putting this on hold and not realizing that this was not the second one in the series. It hasn't given away any spoilers, but they made references to things that I said, I don't remember that happening in the first book, so then I realized that I had skipped ahead a little bit. It doesn't seem to have messed things up for me at all, but it's a good story. Scarlet refers to a kind of museum, like an old town kind of museum that gets burnt down, or at least partially burnt down, and then one of the heads, the new head of some kind of committee in this museum, gets murdered, and then, you know, the investigation goes from there. It's fun. It's a fun book. Like I said, I'm already almost halfway through. It's good. Still in the Sherlock Holmes mood. This is a book that came out this year that I've been looking forward to getting, and I've been doing the thing this year of every time a new book comes out that I really want to read, buying it. almost full price. Whether it's going to be good or not, I don't always know. And it's a bit of a risk, and it's kind of an expensive risk. And I don't regret it entirely, but I'm glad that library books are a thing for me now, because maybe it'll save me some money, we hope. So anyway, but this is a series that I have been reading for a number of years, and it is the Mary Russell and Sherlock Holmes series. Mary Russell is much younger than Sherlock Holmes, but they are very similar kind of people. And they met when Sherlock Holmes was in retirement in Sussex, being a beekeeper, which is supposed to be something that happened to Sherlock Holmes as a character. And it's in the 1920s, basically, and that kind of feeling. Mostly, a lot of the books took place in the UK. She was in Oxford University, so a lot of stuff happens around then. And they end up kind of meeting real people, you know, like real life people sometimes. So, you know, that's kind of fun. This one is Riviera Gold, which is like, I think, the French Riviera. Last book was in Venice, so I guess they're just kind of traveling along. It will, I think, involve Mrs. Hudson at some point. I don't want to give away what's happened in her story previously, because that is a lot of stuff. But, yeah, so apparently they end up in the Riviera, and let's see, there are people, Monte Carlo. I've never been to this area. I've been to France by the sea, but not quite in that particular area. So, okay. Trying to see if they mention here, like, F. Scott Fitzgerald and Picasso. I don't know if they meet them here. But in the last book they met, or at least Mary Russell met, I can't remember. Maybe they both did, Cole Porter. So it feels very, it puts me in mind of one of my favorite movies, Midnight in Paris. I'm not, like, overly obsessed with that time period and those people, but I kind of like it. So, and I like these stories, most of them. I don't always like the idea that, Sherlock Holmes, I don't know, they've changed a few things about his age or whatever, but in a way I don't mind. Because sometimes you have to use the imagination. And as far as, like, pastiches or sequels or, you know, non-Arthur Conan Doyle written Sherlock Holmes, this is one of my favorites. So I'm looking forward to this next installation. More mysteries. This is The Word is Murder by Anthony Horowitz. I know he's got a new book out right now that's a continuation from another book that I was reading. But I didn't see it in the library catalog yet, so I can wait. I read The Sentence's Death, which is actually the sequel to this book. So this is kind of backtracking. And I've had this already for a week and I haven't opened it yet. So I don't know how eager I am to start it. But I kind of just like the idea of taking it out and seeing if I'm going to read it. I'm as the weather will eventually start getting colder, I do like to read more mysteries. So I wouldn't mind that. I kind of like this one because Anthony Horowitz kind of writes about himself as a character, in a fictional way. But it's him. As someone who's a writer, and has written not only books that I like, but also television shows that I really like. And then he comes across this actual detective and ends up coming along with him on cases. So it's kind of an interesting thought. The detective's a bit rude, though. I mean, I know they make that happen a lot in books, but he's a little too rude for my taste. But I did like the last one I read, so we'll see, you know? So this is the last one. This is a nonfiction, and I've seen this and almost bought it a number of times because it came out. Let me see. I think it came out this year. Let me just make sure. Yeah, it came out this year, and so it was one of the ones I was tempted about, but I kept holding off because I said, you know, you just can't buy everything, for goodness sakes. So this is Square Hunting: 5 Writers in London. Big surprise, another book about London. Between the Wars by Francesca Wade. And it's got a blurb by Sally Rooney, author of Normal People. She says, a beautiful and deeply moving book. So you can see Virginia Woolf here. This is about Mecklenburgh Square in London, which I guess is in the Bloomsbury area-ish, yeah. Outskirts, it says here. And there were a number of people who lived in that area. Artists and writers and whatnot. And it's just a little bit about them and in that time period. So, modernist poet H.D., who I have never heard of. I suppose I will learn about now. Ooh, did you hear that? I'm not very graceful today. Dorothy L. Sayers, who I've been reading. Finally, the Lord Peter Wimsey books. Yeah. Classicist Jane Harrison. Economic historian Eileen Power, and author and publisher Virginia Woolf. So, and the quote, the title comes from a quote from Virginia Woolf that says, "I like this London life, the street sauntering and square haunting." So that's where it comes from. It sounds up my alley. Now, it's funny because like I was saying about the 1920s, I like that period between the wars, but I don't think I'm as obsessed with it as like some people really, that's their thing. I think it's one of my passing interests, which I kind of like because sometimes I get so into something that I'm just overwhelmed with how much I'm interested in it, and I kind of like how I like this and I find it fascinating, but I can also separate from it. So I hope I can continue to do so and continue to enjoy it. So those are the 4 books I got from the library so far. There are other books that I have yet to have ready for me to pick up because obviously I need more books in my life. But I'm very excited. Let me know if you guys have heard of any of these books. If you want to read any of these books. If you don't want to read any of these books. Well, maybe not if you don't want to read any of these books. But if you like any of these series, you know, that sort of thing. If you like these kind of conversations, please feel free to subscribe if you haven't already. So yeah, I'll be back soon with, I think a TBR, a wrap-up, probably more hauls, and maybe something more original, but we'll see. I haven't been feeling that creative lately. Ups and downs, you know what I'm saying? So this is Catherine taking tea with Catherine. Have a lovely tea and book and library-filled day.